Hello gamers, my name is Raz and this is my video on my Zipline network in the eastern region of Death Stranding. A few things to note is this is the original version of the game, not the director's cut. I don't know if it makes a difference at all, and I am not in endgame. I am currently in chapter 5. I have not actually beaten the game yet. I decided to come back to the starting region after unlocking the Zipline feature to create the network. So a few things about ziplines before we get started is of course you do need to unlock them, which happens in chapter 5, and you do need to have a level 2 PCC to create them. You can see I have one right here. The level 1 does not have the zipline feature, so you do need to have a level 2. The ziplines, the default base is level 1. With a range of 300 meters. You can upgrade to a level 2, which extends that range to 350 meters, and then you can upgrade to level 3, which I believe just increases the timefall durability. So no need to really upgrade to level 3 unless you really want to. Upgrading to level 2 is recommended and in fact needed in a lot of areas, as you do need that increased distance of 50 meters to help create them. So a tip that I read was to alternate upgrading your zipline. So place 1, upgrade to level 2. The second one you can leave at level 1. The third, upgrade to level 2. As the 350 meter distance does extend to level 1 ziplines, as long as it's able to connect to a level 2, if that makes sense. So to construct a zipline, just to show, you would just select it in the PCC, press down on the D-pad, and then you just place. And if it's blue, you can place it. You can see the blue line connects to an existing zipline, and you can see one way out there. It's not able to connect because it is too far. So that is the basics of zip lines. So starting off, here is my very first one, and we are starting at the very first area in the eastern region, capital Knot City. So here we are in the map, and here's my first zip line. So you can see I upgraded this one to level 3. Again, not necessary. I just decided to upgrade that one as I was just messing around and had not had a fully upgraded piece of equipment down before. And I upgraded it to at least level 2 when I was initially doing this to get the 350 meter distance. You can see I am all the way out there with that one, so here we go. Okay, and this one I stayed at level 1, no need to upgrade it. The one that I placed up there, I did upgrade to level 2. You can see I didn't even use the full 350 meters, but I did use it, as you'll see, to get to the 4th zip line. So showing on the map where we are, and this is where we started. So moving on, we're going to go over the mountain range and head over to the way station west of capital Knot City. Okay, as I mentioned, I did upgrade this one to level 2 to get the max 350 meter distance to enable to get to that zipline that's right outside of the way station. To get up to the top of this mountain range, you can just kind of climb up around this area. I would recommend a ladder. I don't quite remember how I got up here. You can also see it looks like over there you can just walk your way up, so it's not too difficult to reach this top area. So moving on to the next one. And here we are at the way station west of Capital Knot City. There we are on the map, and again showing that we came from this direction. Capital Knot City is over here. So this zipline I'm going to call a primary zipline, the ones that are right outside of destinations for delivering packages to. The one right outside Capital Knot City would have been the first primary. And then these two, kind of the connecting zip lines, are going to just be secondary zip lines. And this one I did remain a level 1. Going over here, this will be our next secondary connecting zip line. So this is another one. I remained at level 1. I didn't see a need to upgrade it as I was able to get my zipline up there outside the Luden's fan habitat perfectly fine. So be aware that in this area we're going to want to place one. This is mule territory. You can see that on the map. So just be aware when you are placing them. And then one nice thing about the zip line is that I don't know if it happens if it's lower on the ground, like more at level where the water is, but because this one I placed is elevated, when the mules send out their ping, they are not able to detect you due to the elevation, besides the fact that with the zip line you are going to be out of there before they even have a chance to find you. So moving on, this is going to be our third primary zip line. Alright, this one is outside the Luden's fan. Here we are on the map, that's where we came from. There is the way station, and here is the Luden's fan. So this zipline I did upgrade to get the max distance heading down to the next connecting zipline. To get up here to the Luden's fan, you can just head on up this hill and loop around. You could use a ladder or a climbing anchor, but pretty simple to get up here. It's not too difficult. So this is a level 1. You can see I have the max 350 meter distance, but that is because that zipline over there is upgraded. This one, right now we got lucky, but this area is almost always inhabited by BTs. So here we are in the map, that's where we came from. So just be aware when you are placing zip lines down around this area, it is almost always has a fair amount of BT presence. And then one thing to note is that if there are BTs there and you are coming riding through on the zip line, I would just not linger. I would just move on to the next as quick as you can. I don't know if they can actually harm you while you are on this, but definitely the sound of you coming here does attract them immediately. So I always just zip on out of here as quick as I can. So this is our next primary one. This one is outside of the distribution center west of Capital Knot City. As I mentioned, is level 2, so I could get the max distance. And this is also our first diverging one. So I have one zipline down that way that's headed to the musician, one connecting up there that heads to Wind Farm. So we will go ahead and just show the first divergence. So again, level 2, did the max distance of 350, and we're on our way to the Wind Farm. Okay, and I realized I did forget to show on the map the one outside the distribution center. So there's the distribution center, there is that first zip line, and this is our first path going up to the wind farm, as you can see. So be aware this area is densely populated with trees, and it is on a very steep downhill incline, decline. Just very steep area. This area in particular was a very big pain to get zip lines placed correctly. It took a lot of trial and error. I placed multiples, dismantled them, placed them again, dismantled them again. So if you are having trouble in this area, just be aware that you are not the only one, and I think this is just a difficult area in general due to the environment. Okay, and then this one is also not an upgraded one. So this whole area, I did not upgrade any of the zip lines because, as I mentioned earlier, or actually I don't think I did. So the max distance or distance overall doesn't matter in this area. What just matters is the placement of them, as you'll see. Alright, here is our first one at the top of the hill. There we are. That's where we came from. So this first zipline is going to go in here, down the hill into the trees, and then it's going to go all the way to our primary one right outside of the wind farm. Again, none of these are upgraded. You can see the distance is pretty short between this one and the next, and you can also see how hard it is to even see where it was placed. I would recommend just placing one here. Some people place one around this area. This one worked the best for my placement of my zip line down there, but you'll just have to place one, and then with your compass kind of just look out about 300 to 350 meters depending on the length of your zip line, and you're kind of just going to have to mess around with placing one with the PCC. Okay, and you can see how steep this is. So there we are on the map again, and then just one more to get to our primary outside the destination. So with this placement here, I do want to give a disclosure that I got extremely lucky. I don't think that I could repeat this placement if I tried to. I mean, you can see it goes straight through the trees. I would consider that an obstruction, but the game did not, and I wasn't going to question it considering how long it took me to get the proper placement in this area. So just be aware that you may not be able to get this exact placement, and just this whole area in general requires a lot of trial and error, so don't give up. And here we are outside the wind farm. Here we are on the map, and we are going to head all the way back to our first diverging one right here, and we will be heading off this way to the Musician and final stretch to Port Knot City. Okay, so this one is actually also a diverging one. We were originally down there. So just to show where we're at here. And this is one right outside the distribution center, and this is one along the riverbank heading to the musician. So I actually got a nice little triangle with all three of these. Didn't actually plan it, but worked out well. So we will go ahead and just go this way to this connecting one. Okay, and then this one I did not upgrade. The one at the musicians I did, as I did place that one first before I even placed the one I'm currently on, and I upgraded it in anticipation of needing the full distance, but I ended up not needing it. And just showing on the map where we're at, there's the musician, and there we are. Okay, and with this one, I did place it kind of on this bit of a steep slope, as you can see. I did originally walk around up this way, and then just for convenience's sake, I did place a ladder here just to help myself in the future going forward. In the past, I did originally place one closer down here, so that one, like lower down the slope, works well. But I did just want to place it up higher in anticipation of getting more distance. So this is our second to last primary one. Here we are on the map, and we're going to go ahead and head back this way to our connecting one, and then go all the way up, final stretch to Port Knot City. So be aware that this big ravine, rocky ravine area, this one is also another pain to get, or to properly place, I should say, ziplines. It also has a heavy BT population, so just be aware of that. And just like Wind Farm, this one took me a lot of trial and error, a lot of placing, dismantling, placing, dismantling, until I was able to get it just right. So if you're having trouble, just keep trying, don't give up. Okay, and here we are up the ravine to Port Knot City. Again, this one is not upgraded. You can see it's 201 meters to this one, and all three of the zip lines I have in this area are all like precariously placed on top of these rocky outcroppings. I did find that necessary just to get the height, because it is a pretty steep elevation going up. Other people in some videos I saw, they didn't have to do that, but I found this to be the best way to get an efficient network through this area. Okay, and then this is just a level 1. The way that I got up here was I sort of just came down there and looped around and climbed over all these rocks to get up here. This one up here, you can see, is very precariously situated. Looks like very dangerous climb, but it really wasn't that bad. I'll show you more when we get up there. And just to show you on the map where we're at. And I was actually able to get through this ravine with just 3. I originally had around 6 just to get around everything, and definitely had too many, took up too much carval bandwidth, and had to do, again, trial and error to just try to minimize the amount of ziplines that I had in here. Alright, and here's this one on this big old rocky outcropping. So I found my way up here just from kind of down around here and just scrambled my way up here. And then speaking of chiral bandwidth, I realized I didn't mention previously. So I do have the full chiral bandwidth, which I believe is 10,720. I will show you at the end how much I have or I have used up of that amount, but I highly recommend not doing this network, or at least like placing them as you go while you're doing orders to increase the network or the bandwidth, as it is pretty difficult to do this without the maximum chiral bandwidth. So again, just showing on the map where we're at, and here's going to be our last connecting one in the ravine. And this one also looks like it's going to be a pain to get up to. It wasn't that bad. You kind of just go around that way, loop your way around the back, and just scramble up the rocks. This one also is not upgraded, and you can see there's Port Knot City in the distance. Here we are in the map, and on to our next connecting one right there. So this one I did upgrade in anticipation of connecting to one up there out of the ravine. I was expecting it to take or be a longer distance than the 239 that I got. So this one isn't necessary to upgrade, as I did upgrade the destination primary one down there to 350. You can see we have the max distance. So this one I would say is optional to upgrade or not, as you know, I was able to get up to that one at 239 meters. And here we are at Port Knot City. Did the entire eastern region from Capital Knot City all the way to Port Knot City. I hope that this video was informative and provided some tips on creating your network. And then one thing I did forget to mention is in regards to upgrading the Ziplines, at least to get to level 2, you do need 240 chemicals and 480 special alloys. To get to level 3, you can see what this one has. It's 300 chiral crystals, 1,440 chemicals, 1,440 special alloys. Again, upgrading level 3 not necessary at all, but is recommended that about every other or so zipline is upgraded to level 2, which will need the 240 chemicals, 480 alloys. Alright, again, thank you for watching. I hope this was informative. And happy walking and delivering out there, everyone.